Hey guys, this is, let's say, my overview of the class in Angelstone, namely the Slinger. This class is the glass cannon of the three classes. One being the Zerg, the tanky, well, medium damage dealer. That class can take a beating and keep on beating other people with a stick, a big stick. They probably are the best class in the game because they do have some nice CC skills like charge. They have their whirling thingy that that allows them to close in and keep some AoE farming potential on some maps. But on the other hand, we have the Slinger, who has big damage. Probably the one redeeming feature of the Slinger is the huge damage potential that they have. Though that comes at the cost of their other skills like survivability, namely their armor class, and their HP pool is way lower, maybe half of the Zergs. There are Zergs that have over 10k armor with over 9k on Asia 1, I think. But I digress. This is my take on the Slinger. We have several kinds of types of Slingers, types of play per se, because the gear mostly is the same, changing some pieces. Let's overview the class by gear. I do not have a costume on because it's not good, but it's not the worst, but let's take gear into account. My gear is not the best by a long shot. I'm like ranked 50 in DR, the Demon Wraith. But I do have some good pieces. For the helm, I recommend the critical chance helm, the Seraph. We have melee reduction, range reduction, and you can pick and choose between reduce skill cooldown, that's really good, but you can also pick one of the poison, blood, fire, curse resistances. Namely, they are somewhat more preferable if you have poison, because poison is the PvP of choice resistance. Blood, because there are some blood skills that hurt a lot, like reload. We'll come back to reload in a bit. And fire, it is the least used, probably. I have not encountered a lot of fire, except for fire slingers that are a combat-centric slinger that I'm gonna come back on. Curse is mostly on the mage, but now we're gonna talk about Slinger mostly. Okay, next piece. It's the similar. The head and the helm. The helm and the shoulder are basically the same thing. Exactly the same thing. Extra damage used to be my focus, and I was wrong about that, because as we know about some details, for example, now we have extra damage. You can see here, click this, and extra damage. The damage dealt to normal monsters increases, excluding bosses. Those excluding include like players, so it's a useless stat in PvP. So you wanna avoid that if you wanna make end game character. Like if you want to farm, that's okay, but if you want to be viable to PvP, because the end game of this game is not PvE by a long shot. The last raid that was added was when they branched off the Awakening Nightmare into two other raids, and they moved Hellgate to be a raid, and RSS Revival Ritual Site is basically the same, only scaled up, and probably the hardest of the 4 raids. Okay, next piece. Here you're gonna have a bit of a choice to make. If you wanna be mostly end game, you may wanna pick hero with the probably the best and maybe only enchant that we need as a slinger, the attack speed, because it's an enchantable. Every other one is not as good. Might as well say it's bad, because potions are unusable. This may be good for PvE, but I don't think so. I would say that this is a way better alternative. Like of the two, always pick this one. Yeah, I don't know. Exploding round is not as useful, in my opinion. Okay, we move to the next piece. These hands are probably what I would go for any day. My crit is a bit low, and I would go for something better, as close to 25, but it's not the worst. I could invest carrots, but I do not have carrots, and mostly I use them to buff up stamina for more missions, etc. Okay, next to the weapon of choice. The weapon of choice is this thing. Maybe if you can get a better crit, but it's mostly what you want, and nothing else matters. Okay, next we go to the side weapon. Enchants for this weapon are basically non-existent unless you use hook kick that silences. Every other choice is on a skill that's not useful. Tin Ice, I will come back to Tin Ice in a bit, but now let's say like you want to use something of these things, you would basically always go to hook kick, no matter what. Okay, now we go to the boots of choice. For me, I would always pick the Seraph boots, because they have basically what I need for PvP, and they are useful for PvE as well, because you're not supposed to be the tank. If you're taking damage, you are basically doing it wrong, unless you're a 3 DPS team that goes into a raid and tries to burn down the boss before he burns you down. Okay, next. Okay, and now we come to the major debate between the Slinger. Do you want dodge or do you want crit? I'm of the opinion that you want crit, because dodge is only useful on non-skill hits. You will be better on tanking crits, but the partials and the skill shots will always hit, so it's a useless stat. Whereas you have some other skills like crit that always works. This is okay, but if you do your positioning, and if you use your CC breaks like impact, or you use Volt to use those invulnerability frames to get a good dodge of a skill like rooting abilities and snaring abilities, and some skills like sleep. You can dodge those if you do the Viper Vault correctly. Timings is everything on this class. Okay, now for the choice of the bracer. It's basically you want to have crit damage. That's the best thing you can get. This, there are two different items that we get, as we can see for Slinger. For the defense and HP, we have the Bracelet of Dawn. You see, it has no. I was thinking the wrong thing. My Seraph. You can get reduction on range damage, and although this is good because you will be especially weak to Slingers, taking into account that there are two melee classes that with melee skills that this will not work on. So I do value Zergs as my arch nemesis, so I pick melee. I have a ring that I can work on, but I don't know how long I will play this game and if I will be able to get this higher. This is like minty item that I got dropped. Over time you get items. These gloves I crafted like from tier 1. I crafted to the max and I got lucky a bit with the crafting event, so it was okay, but still not there and probably never will be, because you need some cards to do everything, because after you forge the options, you get forge for 1000, then you can pick your thing, but it's not that important because we'll get back to it. Okay, next for the ring, you have melee option for this, like reduction of melee and range for 4% or resource consumption for 5. I probably am better off getting something with reducing damage, but this is okay as well. This is probably the best one for PvE. So if you're a raider and do not pay much attention about PvPing, you would want to get a Seraph. Okay, now we're back to details. What do we need? We need attack damage, critical rate, and critical damage. And we need the defense penetration. Additional hero damage is okay, but you would want to have like the major things that work both in PvP and PvE. Maximum life. So we are going to talk about effectual HP, because even if you have all the HP in the world, it will not save you if you have 0 armor. If their attacks hit you for maximum damage, you would want to negate some of it. So if you have like 1000 HP with armor and resistances, you can take a lot more damage than someone that has probably like, let's say 1050 HP, 1500 HP and no resistances, no armor. You would survive way longer. So next we go to the artifact selection. For Slinger, you basically want to have maxing the ancient artifacts and enchanting. The importance goes from attack to basically, yeah, I would say armor, then crit, then HP, then crit reduction, resistance. Yeah, it's basically the same. I'm close to getting my final this is a non-payer account, so I did some work. Basically, this set gives you what you need. You need defense penetration, crit chance, and this gives us, well, if we see this, is what we need. Reduce hero damage, and basically this one is basically for the base stat, which is the highest and equal to uh, the sets, the non-set, the events artifacts like the chocolate and the HP have the same 30%, whereas or 66.9 on max compared to the 27.3 that is the base for the non-ancient sets. Okay, where were we now? Okay, basically that's easy choice. When you enchant, you get some more. As for the costume, I got some critical resistance. It's not the best. Defense penetration is nice. Critical damage. Basically, I did not get the best of stats. But I'm not sure how long I will stay, so I decided to make this video to share my views. Okay, this is my old boot. I had some okay boot, but I decided it's not the best, so I worked on the other one. These four are the base items for a Slinger. This is your offense, and you want them max if you wanna raid, because your tank will depend on you doing enough damage to survive. Chest, the enchant gives you some more attack speed, so it's nice, but it's not the best. Not the best, but it's not essential. It's nice to have, but you can do even without it. Okay, that's for PvE. There are some kind of slingers that have some fire and only PvP setup with slows on musket or arterial strike, because we'll get into that longer a bit on the a bit later when we discuss skills. Okay, so this is kind of nice when you have ensnare, but this in comparison to some other things is kind of nice for PvP, but okay, I digress. Let's check out the stones. I have some awakening ready. Like if you can see, I have some passives, some pets, and some actives ready. Okay, the Angelstone of choice is taken, definitely. This one is amazing. It has critical chance, it has attack damage, and defense penetration, what we need of a skill. Always max this. I can awaken it, but I do not have the gold as of yet. Okay, next is Sand Swimmer, the pet of choice, because we are basically great at doing single target damage. The AoE is not the best, but we can make it work somehow with some skills. Okay, so I choose Sand Swimmer over any other pet in most situations, excluding PvP. But even in PvP in the Desert of Chaos, you can make some work with the Sand Swimmer tanking the Titans, as you will remain on full HP and able to deal with people trying to kill you. So, yes. Hunter's Lullaby. This is amazing because it has the best scaling in PvP. 304%. And even in the PvE, but because of the cooldown, it's not what you would normally take unless you use it for the effect to put an enemy to sleep. This is quite amazing because in RRS, Ritual Revival Site, you can basically use it on cooldown to keep the Acolyte from buffing the Jinn, and also on the big lug himself, Belize, you can put one abomination, even those Usain Bolt ones, to basically stay there and wait for you to kill the boss. So it's amazing like that. And also it can crit and do some major damage. If you can see, like in my case, I'm not the best, but I do have quite a bit of crit damage. This damage on top with the set bonus and with when I add, actually the set bonus is now added, but when I add my critical chance of 10.3, I get over 40, almost 50%. So every second hit is a crit. Not bad at all. And when I get the fifth, ancient, I will basically increase this critical chance. I get 2.4 more on my crit, yeah, which is kind of nice. With defense penetration, it's nice. The guild war. Yeah, we did one, and we now were so good that we're lost, and now we do not get another opponent. Okay, I was kind of late for that one. Okay, where was I? Yes, skills. Next skill, Finisher Fortune. I like this skill quite a lot. It was my favorite thing to use in raids, because now with the Awaken option, it now becomes viable for PvP as well, because you can basically always be with resources, and as long as in the 10 seconds before you engage an opponent, you get one kill on one random mob, you get this, and this will be available always. So I get over 200, over 200% critical, on top of the 300 of the Hunter's Lullaby that can make people sleep forever, because death is the best CC. Soul Ensnare. I like this skill because it gives us some penetration and it ensnares. It's a nice combo when you do raids. I have not found much use for it in PvP, but it's quite nice. Okay, and also for the Seraph we have the enchantment. I forgot to talk about this, but we have the Soul Ensnare. I do not have it upgraded. When I go from tier 1 to tier 2, I get this option, and when I go to tier 3, I get this option, which is nice, but not quite, because this needs a lot of investment to be viable, because it's a raid skill. We'll get there. Okay, now we have hook kick. Amazing skill to be annoying with. It has quite a nice killing, but I do not prefer it quite as well. It's quite amazing. It can hit quite a lot in a fan area. It got buffed in range. It used to be quite shorter. I think it's 2 meters. Now it's 4.5. And the slow is nice on top with this thing. Silence, it will mess people up and make their day quite annoying. This is Demon Shop Pets. I have not focused it. It's nice to have on fire raids, but well, okay, this has quite a good animation, so I tend to favor this skill quite a lot. Though, yeah, the awakening is not as good as it used to. It used to do 5,000 damage, and now it's split a bit in elemental, and it does some damage. And with the cooldown on 4, it's probably the best skill you're gonna use, because it does not have the spinny motion when you cast it, like Fire Blaster did. It's now faster, but not quite as fast. Withdraw. I used to not favor this skill before it got the awaken. Now it's good, but if you have the means to not use it, you can do better, because this subtracts from your damage, and sometimes you would not like to lose damage, because the faster you kill people, the faster you can get out and kill more people. Musket shot. This one has quite nice rating, and is the only skill that we favor when we get an enchant for 10% attack speed. It's quite nice, and I recommend it quite fondly. Blazing Vitality. One of the skills that I left for quite a while, because I tended to use other skills, because I could not do every skill in the book. But this one is quite essential when you want to do Demon Raid, because it heals. And after the Awaken, it has become quite well. See how it scales. The heal. 202. It jumps to 26, 250. As of now, it's not as important. When we jump, we get 379, and then we got 421. You notice this? 250, 421. Given that you have enough attack speed, you will do some major healing. Compare this to the Vampire Blade that the Zerg has, and you will get far. This one is my friend from quite a while. It's now even probably the best skill to awaken as a Slinger after taking, because now we get some way to bypass the Zerg armor and do some damage this way, besides the armor penetration, and we get a buff. 500 is no small buff to give to your attack, because we have 8,300 and now we get 500 on top. And if you can add, for example, this one, when added on max, you get this, so that may get crit, and the critical damage get increased by 20, and we get some huge damage, which is quite nice. Okay, Hellhound. The only thing that makes this pet a bit bad is because you can only farm it 5 times a day, like 5 missions a day, unless you buy the mission again. Okay, next, plastic explosive is quite nice and needed for the raid, the brothers. No, it's the corrupted brothers. They are quite big, so you wanna use some skills that have AoE potential, and I'm gonna go back to that when I discuss builds. But now let us continue. Okay, we have plastic explosive. You can farm this quite well because you have 10 plus 3, that's 13 times a day. And you would want to do that. Like, you want to do every DD dungeon, and because it gives quite a bit of bang for your buck, or stamina in this case. Okay, next, Eagle Eye. This was a terrible skill, quite terrible. Before you get the DR dungeons that need a curse, and curse is terrible on Slinger. If I have to say, curse is probably one of our weakest. Compare like blood and curse. Curse is definitely the weaker of the two, because we only have this, and this. These two being the only single target, and for the RU, basically want to have only a single target. Venom Dash, quite good, but sometimes you do not have time. You don't have space the slot for this skill. It has some damage, but what's important is during normal attack you can increase your movement by 15. If you can allow yourself to basically not get CC'd, rooted, and basically immobilized, this is amazing to get around and run circles around slow targets. Okay, explosive shot. This hard to farm because you only get it 3 times a day, but it has some good cooldown and has good damage. It does not matter quite well if you increase the damage by awakening it, because it does not matter quite well. It's a small increase, but not worth it, in my opinion. Curse Shot has the biggest scaling of all the skills, but it does not have a partner like we have with Quick Shot and Musket. Those two are basically not as good. We have 260 on Musket, and we have, this is the counterpart of Musket, and it has 290 attack, which is okay, but when you do not partner it with anything, and the dot does not actually get some benefit like when we have Quick Shot, that when something is cursed, it deals more curse. We do not have something like that. Okay, next. I have invested quite a lot when every raid was weak to fire. This one is an amazing skill because it has 4 seconds cooldown. It has quite a good amount of damage. Yeah, though it does not scale in PvP. But that's probably okay, because then everybody will go Fire Slinger with CCs, as we will see later. There is something else. Okay, okay. Rend. Fast skill, good damage, does not scale with PvP. But it deals this blood damage without checking. It does not check if you have bleed already, and that's good because we do not have good ways to use blood dots unless with another passive, that is the Pistoler's Focus. It has nice dodge, some blood dots, but I guess it's okay. And all the blood inducing passives on normal hit is basically increasing the resistances of the skill by an amount, and basically making this quite a cookie cutter skill. But the dodge is nice, especially on tower. Okay. We will continue from here on out in the next part, because it's gone quite long, I think. Okay, see you in the next part.